Okay, so today I have a friend of mine from many years ago. We worked together in the addiction and recovery arena back probably 7, 8, 9 years ago. And I'm just so proud and so thankful that he agreed to come on our channel today and talk with us about the things that he has seen, his experience, his strength, his hope. This is Pastor Stephen Davis, and he's here in Upper East Tennessee and Southwest Virginia area. And just really excited that he's here. So, Pastor, if you'll tell us a little bit about you and what you do, and just please keep in mind that some of the people watching this may not be from here, so they may not know some of the things that we talk about, but we'll give some generalized answers if you don't care.
Okay, not a problem. Well, and thank you for having me, and thank you for inviting me. I think we reconnected on the social media messenger page,
Yes.
which is a great resource. Northeast
Yes.
Tennessee and Southwest Virginia, great resource. But
Yes,
I
it
am
is.
Stephen L. Davis, pastor um, of Brothers for Christ Community Response. We're better known as BCCR. I have over 30 plus years of lived experience. I'm in long term recovery. I have over 11 years of incarceration, and in a couple months, I will be home. Will have been home 18 years. So I
Wow.
have more time out than I do in, and it's like every day is a new day. I'm the father of seven. I have three left in the house. They are 10, 11, and 12 years old.
Oh, my.
My wife and I have been together for 15 years, married for 12, going on 13 years. Um, and it's been a challenge all the way around the board. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. Um, I was sharing with you, that's where I had my my death experience. Um, but we are thankful that we still have a job to do. We still have a mission to fulfill. Currently, as the president, executive director of Brothers for Christ Community Response, which is a ministry I started in 2003 officially while I was
Mhm.
still incarcerated,
Oh,
because
wow.
it was my goal to figure out what can I do not to return to this place.
Yes,
And
sir.
after interviewing about 500 guys from across the state of Virginia, we found out that there was a need for faith, education, substance abuse recovery and prevention, marketable job skills, and family. Those were the five most important things. And so that's what we base our ministry off of.
Mhm. Tell me a little bit about when someone leaves prison or jail, whichever one it is, what are some of the emotional um, challenges that come with that, and how can families gear up and get ready for their loved one to come home after incarceration? What's some of the best things for them to do?
Well, that's a good question, because one of the biggest misunderstandings when someone comes home is automatically thinking that that individual feels joy and they're just so happy to be released, and everyone involved is going to be happy. But in reality, reentry in and of itself can be emotionally overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
We say returning residents, but it can be emotionally overwhelming for the returning resident or returning citizen, as well as the family, because depending on how long an individual has been away, things have changed. Emotionally, many individuals come home carrying shame, anxiety, depression, uh,
Mm.
fear of rejection, uh, uncertainty about where they will fit into society today. And then many families expect a person just to get out and move on, forget about it. You're done with that. But it's not like that, because individuals have become accustomed to being in a structured environment, being in the correctional system, being told when to eat, when to go to sleep, when you can go outside as an adult, male or female. That becomes challenging, because once released, we like to tell everyone that we deal with, life comes at you fast.
Oh, I
And when you
bet.
get out, you're now responsible. If you do not have a support system, you're now responsible for your light bill. You're responsible for your food. You're
Mhm.
responsible for your housing. You're responsible for finances. And that's overwhelming when someone, no matter how bad the situation was taking care of that for you. But now you have to strive and try to do that for yourself. You know, many families may don't expect to know how difficult it was for an individual who has been away. You could have been away for 2 years, not to mention those who have been away for 20 years. Technology,
Mhm.
you go in one
Yeah,
way and you come out and it's totally different. So
so
trying to
different.
navigate technology alone is overwhelming.
How much do you think that kind of thing plays a part in someone turning to drugs or alcohol or other negative behaviors, to help them get
That's a
by?
great one.
Yeah, because I'm thinking myself, what would I do? And would I go to something to help me navigate that?
So I think the first step, like I said, I have over 11 years of incarceration. And my first step on my second incarceration, which lasted for 8 years, 8 months, and 14 days, I made a determined and committed effort not to return to the things that I was once involved in. And
Hmm.
so I believe rehabilitation starts the day you are incarcerated. We talk about rehabilitation, and one of the definitions is to be put back in a former state. Well, if I come in messed up and you put me back in that same state, I'm going to leave out messed up. So I think we must be habilitated first so that we can begin to understand who we are, what we're doing, and where we're going. Those challenges are daunting tasks for individuals who are coming out, especially if you do not have a support system.
Hmm.
I think my mother was about 68 when I came home, and she really didn't know, but she waited on me. And then I had her, she maxed out her credit cards, getting me clothes and providing for transportation. I had a lady that was my grandmother's dear friend, my grandmother now.
Hmm.
She was in her 80s at the time, and she would drive me around to get my driver's license, to employment. But I had a support system. Coming
Yes.
out without a support system is almost impossible. So you refer to going back to whatever got you there, old environments, old behaviors.
Hmm.
We tend to figure that the stresses of life are just too much. And I'm going to go back to what I thought I knew how to do.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I believe that, and it's not because our ministry runs sober living houses, but I believe that housing is one of the most important aspects of reentry
I
because
agree.
if I had a job making $50 an hour, but I had nowhere to lay my head, I may work for a week because it's going to take at least 2 weeks for me to get paid. But
Yeah.
I'm going to get tired of washing up in the bathroom at the gas station. I'm going to get tired of wringing my socks out and smelling, and I'm going to go back to what I need. But if I have somewhere to lay my head, I'm now more confident that I can get up refreshed and I can go into this job. So
Absolutely.
putting together everything that you need, um, housing, employment, marketable job skills, family, a support system. And
Hmm.
it don't have to be biological family.
Right. Yeah. So how does a person can they actually start those things while they're incarcerated? Let's just say they have an end date. They know when they're going to be released. How far before that do they need to start working on, okay, where am I going to live? Where am I going to work? What am I going to do? Who's going to drive me around? Do I need to get my license back if I've lost it? What kinds of things can you get done while you are incarcerated or have a family member work on for you on the outside until your release date? Are there some things you can do?
So the first thing I suggest and I utilize and many people around me utilize was first getting an understanding of who they are.
Hmm.
I if I need driver's license, but I'm still confused about who I am and what I'm going to do, it doesn't make a difference. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have a driver's license and I'm gonna be driving around in a day. So I believe that, as I said, that rehabilitation or habilitation starts the day you're incarcerated.
Hmm.
And then from there, you start making plans on how I'm going to navigate this system. How am I going to be better than when I first entered into the system? And what is going to make me different instead of being a negative statistic, but a positive statistic.
Mhm.
You know, how
So
can I repay?
you're saying day one when they enter prison or jail or which that's the day they start working on this. And you're saying what I'm hearing you say is they need to start thinking, who am I and who am I going to be when I get out? Instead of, this is where I came from and what I did, blah, blah, blah. Who do I want to be when I leave here?
Correct. Because many people, when we come out with so many stigmas attached to us. We
Mhm.
come out, if I get a divorce from my wife, she becomes my ex wife.
Mhm.
Um, if I played Major League Baseball and I finished playing baseball, I'm an ex baseball player, former baseball player. But when you are a felon, you're not an ex felon. You're always a felon. And so that being attached to you causes a lot of anxiety and depression. And we're wondering about these stigmas. So then we need to start working beyond that, knowing that I am more than my poor
Yes.
mistake. I am more than the poor choice that I made that landed me here. I got here because I needed to slow down and figure out what does my life hold for me. And
Yes.
so when you talk about people helping you out, I would go to the law library or to the regular library on a regular basis and research what is out here for me. I knew the area that I was coming back to. I knew what I wanted to do. Um, and so I began working on those things. When it came to employment, one of the biggest things when I first came home was I could not get a job.
Yeah.
I could not get a job at McDonald's. I could not get a job at the factory. So I had to create a job for myself.
Mhm.
And I happened to go back to Ohio and I seen vans on the corner and people pulling their cars up. And I was curious, and what they were doing was mobile detailing, a business that could cost you less than $500 to start in.
Yes.
And you start mobile detailing. So we came back and we began mobile detailing and we began taking care of people's cars. We needed a sense of independence. We needed a sense of responsibility, accountability. And I didn't want to lean heavily on my mother because she had done all that she could do. Now it was up to me to see what I could do.
Yes. I see that a lot. I've been working in this business in the addiction and recovery, those businesses, whether it was in treatment or in housing or in the recovery end of it since 2012. So close to 15 years. And I have seen the most remarkable things from individuals, coming out of incarceration for that exact reason because they come out and they have this all this in their background now and they couldn't get a job, and so many people I have seen have made a way for themselves and started their own business, started their own thing, worked for themselves. So I want to say just what you're saying is that's not off the table. Anybody can do it. If you have a passion for something and you really feel like that is where you need to be going and what you need to be doing, do it. You can find resources and people to help you get started in something, and you can still be self-employed. And of course, there now, especially here in Upper East Tennessee, we have caring workplaces, and I know many places probably have something like that that helps individuals with a second chance employment. And so, give our audience a little bit of information on second chance employment and what you have seen happen with that. And I know over the years it's become more of a thing and in a good way. So, mhm.
So with that uh, being a topic of discussion, second chance employment period. I think when COVID hit, it put people into a lazy state
Mhm.
of mind, frame of mind. And so the employment industry now find it very hard to find reliable workers. So
Yes.
it's open. Um, there are many factory jobs that are open in our region, plenty of service jobs. If you've learned a trade, you have a trade that you can get into, carpentry, plumbing, drywall, painting, whatever the case may, barber school. Um, but those are very important. And then you must realize other resources that are available. There's a federal bonding program that will
Mhm.
take uh, You can get a letter from your caseworker or your probation officer or someone, or you can look it up online about the federal bonding program, and you can submit that to the employer that you're going to, which will bond you for 6 months. And if something negative happens, you are covered. That gives the employer a sense of release, knowing that, okay, I'm going to hire this felon or ex felon,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
I'm kind of skeptical, but if he steals something, it's covered. If he creates a situation, he's covered. I think there are many jobs in our region that truly believe in a second chance, and there are some
Yeah.
larger corporations that will also give you a second chance and
Yes.
believe that uh, you are redeemable. I think that is
Yes.
very important.
Yes. A second chance is such a big deal, and there's so many employers around here in Upper East Tennessee for sure that have been certified as a caring workplace. And of course, this will mean nothing to people that live in California or whatever, but there's probably similar things like that no matter where you live. But this organization certifies companies as a caring workplace, meaning that they are recovery friendly and will be open to hiring anybody, regardless of their background, um, for any job that they have the skill set for, which is wonderful. So that's something to look forward to and to look for. Tell me a little bit about housing, because I know that is such an expertise of yours, is, sober living, transitional housing. I'm not sure which of those categorizes what you all do, but share with our audience a little bit about housing and the steps for someone to take to find the right place for them, because there's so many and they're labeled all these different things. It's really hard for people to understand what all those things mean.
Oh, thank you. I think first of all, most of the housing falls under transitional housing. That's the
Hmm.
broad title. And
Hmm.
then you have little niches here and there. Whereas sober living is transitional, but there are still rules and regulations that you have to follow. Remember that most individuals are coming from a structured environment, whether it's incarceration or whether it's from out of a recovery program. It's a structured environment, and they still need rules. But in sober living, there are different levels of sober living. I think there's peer one. I mean, tier one is peer-to-peer recovery. You run the house. It's more like the Oxford houses, where
Yep.
the
Hmm.
residents run the house. And then you have like tier two, where you have a house manager from the outside comes in and checks, but the house is still mainly run by those inside. I believe tier three is you begin programming. Um, there's a People are not from our region, but we have a place in the Tri Cities called Recovery Resources. They offer program. We have recovery soldiers. They offer program. They're year long, 90 days, 180 days long, whatever the case. But you're programming and you're understanding that I have to follow these rules. I have to be accountable for my recovery. I have to be accountable for my reentry into society. I need to make it to my probation officer on time.
Hmm.
I need to make all my appointments. I need to make sure that when I'm given a urinalysis, it's clean. So with housing, as I said before, we believe that housing is the most important aspect of reentry and or recovery,
Hmm.
because again, without housing, now in the area that we are, housing is very limited, but I think it's all over the United States, the
Yeah.
cost of housing. And so now
Yes.
you're seeing different levels. Like I said, we have transitional, we have sober living. Now you're seeing those who are not addicted, no, or been incarcerated, communal housing, where
Yes.
you have multiple families living in one house because it's so the prices are so high and people
Hmm.
cannot afford it. But with transitional housing, with the structure, we are a faith-based program, and we ask that they still attend meetings. We ask that your meetings can be a church meeting, it could be a Bible study, but we want you to make those meetings so that you remember that just because I'm free or just because I'm not under the supervision of a probation or parole officer, I still have to be accountable.
Yeah.
And our end goal is for individuals to transition into their own housing.
Yes, yes, very good. That's great. Um, I know also a question that I get asked an awful lot, and I'm sure you do too, is the difference in really helping your loved one versus doing too much. You know, what's I mean, you can help your loved one, but you can do too much and keep them from spreading their wings and flying. You can also, you can also lose yourself. And I've asked this question with all of my interviewees is, you can, for the helpers, you can do so much, but you end up losing yourself in the process. So, share with me your thoughts on that.
So you're saying go from the difference between the helper and the enabler is
Yes.
basically what I see.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
and families need to recognize it goes back to our first question about reentry and the emotions that come in. Families want to help, but they need to get to the point and learn that you have to set boundaries. There need
Hmm.
to be healthy boundaries. We need to be able to communicate with one another openly and freely, to tell each other how we feel. And then you have to let the individual be who they are.
Hmm.
You could tell, the family can tell, and the individual could tell the change in the family, and the family could tell the change in the individual.
Yeah.
We don't want to be overbearing like the mother hen and smother an individual,
Hmm.
which then lets them feel like I might as well stay where I was at because you're trying to control everything. I have
Yeah.
no freedom. I can't make a choice. I'm given the ability to make a decision where I used to couldn't make a decision. They were all made for me. And now you're taking that away from me again. I think families should step back and allow the individuals to grow. There are going to be some stumbles, some hiccups, but be there to support them. Use encouraging words like, I believe in you. You are important. I know you can make it. Don't worry about that mishap. We can get through it.
Yeah.
To continue to encourage, but don't encourage so much that you want their recovery or their reentry more than they do.
Yes. Right. And that happens a lot. I hear of moms and dads and friends and spouses and all those concerned individuals that they do so much for the person that it becomes their mission instead of the individual's mission to, move forward. And you lose yourself in that aspect. Um,
You have, excuse me, you have to remember that the individual, especially, well, either one, coming out of addiction or coming out of incarceration, we have learned how to manipulate for so long. And
mhm.
so if we see that you want this more than we do, especially our parents or
Yeah.
our spouses,
Yeah.
we're going to manipulate them because we're not ready.
Yeah.
And if you're smothering me, I don't really have to worry about doing anything. I'll just let you do it all.
Yes.
So we have to be very careful.
So I'm going to ask you a question that I don't ask everybody because you're a pastor, and this would be more of your topic. How can the church,
Mm.
um, how can the church and our community as a whole, but what's the role that a church and our community can play in helping the individuals that we're talking about, get back out there and reenter society, help them and make them feel loved, help them and make them know and feel that they are important, just like everybody else, because they are. We're all the same.
The church, the church has always been the mainstay, or the not just the church, but that's what I believe, the church.
Yeah.
But there it could be the mosque, it could be the temple, whatever your faith system
Yes.
is. People go to their faith system, and it was always readily available to assist the individual. There has to be, because recovery and reentry does not happen in isolation.
Right.
There has to be community there.
Right.
The old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a community to
Yes, it does.
rehabilitate. It takes a
Yes.
community to re-enter society. What can the churches do? Churches can offer mentorship, provide transportation, assist with employment connections, help with clothing and food, and all that sounds good. But I think the key is something that we've just started. Um, we started a training where
Oh,
we teach churches how to develop a reentry and recovery ministry.
Yes.
Because when we talk about offering mentorship, well, how do I mentor? We're in an age where mental health is the buzzword, and we
Yes.
talk about peer recovery specialists. We talk about, and those are individuals who have been there, but some people in the church may not have ever been anywhere. And
Yes.
so, how do you mix those two? So, we want them to be trained because Sister Sally should not take Brother George on a ride to get his driver's license by herself. I don't care how
Right.
much love she has for him, how much faith she has. Sister Sally need to tell Brother Bill and Brother Tommy to go get him, or have someone else with them. Never be alone because you become vulnerable. And we talk about how individuals know how to manipulate.
Yes.
Sometimes it's hard to get out of a situation that you've been used to all your life. The church needs to be a place where individuals can go and grow and feel love. One of our key aspects is, as a no longer a pastor of a church building, but a pastor in this ministry, we are more evangelistic. We want to go out, find the people, and then we want to connect them to churches that are Bible teaching, Bible believing, and believe in our mission, and then they disciple them. And we've had much success when originally we tried to do it all. We tried to bring the people in, we tried to disciple them, but we have such high rate of turnover and people coming in that we couldn't offer the individualized attention. But when we got other churches involved, when they start believing in the sober living house, when they start coming out and seeing for themselves, we like to visit places so that they can see that we too are still human. We
Yes.
too made some bad mistakes or some poor choices, but we can be redeemed. We are recoverable. We are valued. Take our learning experiences, and so I believe the church really needs to recognize that what the benefits and the community, what the benefits of reentry is. We want to help create individuals who are law abiding, tax paying
Mhm.
individuals. We want to create individuals who are going to have a job and that's going to pour money back into the economy as opposed to taking money away from the economy. So I believe churches have a very, very, very important role to play.
Yes, I agree. I know you mentioned several times already today transportation, and I'll let this be the question before my last question for you. But transportation is a huge barrier for all individuals that have been incarcerated. It seems like most people come out, they have no driver's license. They many times don't have a state ID. They many times they don't have anything, and they have so many fines and fees that they still owe in order to get that license back. And transportation is their biggest barrier as far as work, as far as treatment, as far as meetings, as far anything. So, what are some helpful hints that you could give someone that is in that situation?
I think, first of all, you need to recognize the individual needs to recognize what is the reason I don't have my license. I may not have my license just because I've been gone away for so long.
Hmm.
Well, then I need to go back and reapply for my license.
Hmm.
That's where the community comes in. Um, if my license is being held or suspended because of fines, then I need to petition the court to get a license that will allow me to go back and forth to work. But we're talking about having a license. Where's the vehicle coming from? We may not even have a mode of transportation. That's
Yeah.
another place where the church comes in. We've got a van now. We shuttle people when we have to. That's not our primary goal, but some people don't have resources to get where they need. We need to link up and find the individuals who have those type of resources and then get connected with them.
Hmm.
In our little area, the buses don't run all night, but if you catch the right bus, it will pick you up at your door and it'll drop you off at the door of wherever you're staying. You just have to connect with them,
Hmm.
and that's very important. And that's where communication comes in. That's where trying to find the resources in the area that you're going to. You
Yeah.
know, I think one of the things we talked about was employment, and I'm in the Commonwealth, Southwest Virginia, and we were talking about peer recovery.
Hmm.
And one of the things individuals are coming out with are what we call barrier crimes.
Hmm.
Um, it kind of hindered me for a moment, and I had to take another route because I came out, I completed my degree, I got a master's degree, and I'm ready to go. And I get on the job and I'm working and I'm working, and then all of a sudden they trace me back and they say, this is a barrier crime. So be conscious of what type of work that you want to do and how will your offense affect that job. There
Yes.
are the laws are antiquated, but and they are working on them. I believe in July there's some recent they're rescinding some of the laws so that people can start getting jobs. But
Okay.
it may take a while for people with different crimes or different levels of crime. And so you need to be aware of that. You need to know that inside of you is everything that you need to be successful. It's
Yes.
just pulling it out. Your story, your current situation is not your final destination. For anyone that may be listening,
Mhm.
um, know that your story, everybody has a story, and your story might be that story that can help the next individual. I'm
Absolutely.
not pushing anything, but I share because I wrote a book. You better
Oh,
know the three no's that got me through. Know who you are, know whose you are, and know your calling in life.
I
Many of
love
us
it.
try to define ourselves, and this is one of the things I said about reentry. It starts the day you get locked up because many of us do not know who we are. We become actors according to what society has told us we are, according to what our friends have said we are, according to what our families have told us we are. I mean, many kids have heard you're just like your father. You'll never
Yeah.
amount to nothing. Well, I keep hearing that I'm going to be like my father,
Mhm.
but I'm not my father. I'm my own individual. So I need to find out who I am. What you said it earlier about what are you passionate about?
Yes.
And then pursue that. I think that's very important. You know, my
So,
life. And,
will you show your book again? We hold it up where everybody can see it? And how can people find that? Is it on Amazon?
it's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. You better know. KNOW, the three
Yeah,
knows. Okay. Stephen Davis. Is it under Pastor Stephen Davis or just Stephen Davis?
Pastor Stephen L. Davis Sr.
Okay, just like your name shows on here on the thing. But Pastor Stephen L. Davis Sr. on Amazon. Okay, well, I'll have to go get me one for sure. And I hope everybody else does too. Very good. All right. I love that. I
And
love that.
and it's and one of the things we do with that book is we have classes with our men. And it's not that this is the answer to everything. This is just what worked for me because my purpose in life, my calling, is to help those who find themselves in like situation as I once found
Yes.
myself in, giving them a hand up as opposed to a handout. And that's what
Love
we
it.
seek to do. So knowing
Okay.
who you are, knowing whose you are, and knowing your calling, your purpose, you can be successful.
Well, there you have it.
We just have to
Uh,
define success.
yeah.
You froze.
Oh, am I frozen? Am I back?
Okay, you're
Am I
back.
back? Okay. Okay. And my last question is, what would you say to the helpers on where to go to find your hope? Because I know so many people will watch, at least I hope so many people will watch, and they're thinking, I'm drained. I've had it with my person. I've given everything I can give, and I need to see some hope somewhere. Where would you tell them to go to find hope?
I think they would. I believe that the helpers should always maintain self care.
Hmm.
Self care is so very important because if I have a cup and I continue to pour out of it, soon it's going to be empty.
Yes.
So I need to go back and refill that cup. I can keep pouring, but I need to keep refilling. Uh, you may not see it in one individual. As a man of faith, Scripture tells me, Paul planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. Know
Hmm.
that in time, in their time, you might just be watering something someone else planted in there. The seed that, or you might plant a seed in someone. And when you plant a seed, you don't see it grow immediately. Matter of fact, it has to die before it begins to grow. And so you might not see those right off, but don't become discouraged in what you're doing. Know that if this is your purpose, this is your call in life, continue to work at it. find you other individuals to help. I don't get to go to meetings on a regular basis, but I have two computers here and I'll go in the rooms. There's
Yes.
online meetings. I
Yeah.
can go in the rooms and I can listen to it because I can't tell my guys, you need to go to a meeting, and I'm not going to meetings.
Right.
You know, I might not physically be there, but I got to find something. And I listen and I get revived and I get refreshed. I find the music that helps me just calm down and find my peace.
Yes.
Helpers is so very important to remember who you are and why you're doing it, because people burn out. We think air traffic controllers burn out.
Right.
Helpers burn out a
Yes.
lot faster when there's no self-care.
Well, this has all been so helpful, and I can't thank you enough for all the information you've given us today. Just, everything from housing to incarceration to reentry to transportation and self-care, just all sorts of great stuff. And you are just such a kind heart, and I just appreciate you being on here more than you know. And I want to say to those that are watching, I do have a guide for you if you want to go to my website at www.hopeforthehelpers.com, and you have to put the www ahead of it, www.hopeforthehelpers.com with the number 4, and you can request your I don't know where to start guide, and it's something you can get. It's just a little sheet I have for you that, if you have no idea where to start, this will get you started in trying to help that person that's on your heart. So again, we want to say thank you to Pastor Stephen Davis. He's amazing. And you can find him on Facebook. Is there anything you'd like to plug about your mission for Facebook or any of your social channels where people can go?
Just go and support us. We're developing. You can go to our website and see who we are. www.bros the number 4 Christ.org. You can see who we are. There's a donate button. If you feel that this is something that you aspire to do or you can't do, but you can help finance, we'd love to have you. Get in touch with us. There's an address. You can write us. We'd love for you to come out firsthand and see what it is if you're in our region or if you happen to be in our area sometime. Reach out to us so we can show you what we're doing and how lives are changing. Matter of fact, this weekend, we have a 3-day event called Faith, Freedom, and Foundations. Check our website. Give us a call. If you're around here, come see some of the success stories of individuals who have come through, and recognize that if everyone doesn't make it, it's not your fault. There are going to be some that will not make it, but help those who can.
Very
And
good.
I just thank you for what you're doing. It
Oh,
has been
absolutely.
about 9 years since we connected,
Yes, it's been
and
quite some
just getting
time.
back on that social media and messenger allowed us to reconnect. And I'm so thankful for that. And I'm so thankful for individuals like you and the work that you're doing.
Oh,
Hope
well,
for the helpers, because sometimes the helpers get left out.
that's right. That's right. They do. Okay, I'm going to hit the stop button. It'll stop recording, and you and I can continue our conversation. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay.